can hear some guy talking in the background. It's just a YouTube video that I'm watching. So basically what I'm doing here, if you can't hear is, I guess I may as well say, is I am showcasing the Divinity stabilisers approach as what I'm referring to it as, where basically so there's a few key time slots that this works around, and also this is pretty cool that this, work rejection highs, push reaction, reversal, push lower, and then wick rejection to highs, strong proportionate wick rejection, compared to, in terms of this wick rejection being nearly or bigger, or meaning it can be just as big, it can be nearly as big, it can be or bigger than the opposing side's wick, and then also comparing it to the body, it's well bigger. And then what did it follow with? It followed with a strong reversal to the downside, and then this was the bar which resulted in a strong daily close, closing right at its lows, strong opposing side, top side wick rejection, and then closing pretty much at its lows, signifying the potential for further follow through. So you basically read the market for 2 days running here, and then obviously here you would have read it well. So I haven't even looked at this bar. So look, so if you look here, you pushed lower. Well, first you pushed higher, and then you pushed lower, and then you reacted, and then you stuck, and then you wick rejected the lows, and then you were likely to push higher. You pushed lower, and then wick rejected the highs. It's likely to push lower to some degree here. So yeah, what do you know? It pushed lower, and then here you wick rejecting the highs. It's likely to also push lower to some degree. What do you know? Here it's likely to push higher to some degree. So it did push higher to some degree, like I said. And then here it's likely to have further follow through. What do you know? So I can read charts, man. Like I can fucking read charts. So, and that's just basically analysing whatever way the most recent bar closes the way however it does amongst the region of whatever pushes in play. That's literally it, hence my Discord name. Anyway, so you got a wick rejection to the lows of the low region of a push to the downside. It's not overextended, that's just the low region of the push in play at the downside. That's wick rejecting the lows of, suggesting that there could possibly be some sort of a retracement from this region because the market's starting to wick reject. What do you know? It pushes higher. Now it's starting to wick rejection. The most recent bar close wick rejecting at the high region of a push in play at the upside, meaning wick rejections are starting to show at the high region of the push was in play at the upside, suggesting that a possible retrace to some degree could be nearing. What do you know? It did. And then it pushed higher. This was the short-term push in play, so you had to push lower, push higher. You wick rejecting the highs of this push to the downside. It's likely to flip lower. Now, this is a strategy called Divinity stabilisers approach, where basically you're looking to employ one non-religious overall structure, but you're also having some sort of a bias / framework to operate and work around, let's say, actually. To operate under was what I was using the word operate for, but you're basically looking for some sort of framework to frame trades around. So anyway, here the same thing. You have a wick rejection at the highs of it, push the upside. You have a follow through with eventually reversal lower, and then a reaction to the downside, and then you eventually push higher. You wick rejecting the highs. It's likely to also push lower, just as the daily showed. And then basically what you're doing is you're looking at, in this case, so on Oanda, the Germany 48-hour bar closes at 6. Okay, so this is a bit iffy. So I guess it's the same sort of thing / principle, but yeah, anyway, so what you're doing is you're pairing up the direction that basically the 12, daily, 8 and 4 and 2 suggest, and then we're up with however the most recent 1 hour bar close prior to the key time period, which for Rwanda is 6. My legs. And then basically you're looking for a 1M non-religious overall structure shift / break / play on side 2. and then we're going to conduct a 2022 model, which is just FVG prior to the break or just after, and the non-religious overall structure shift must be clean itself. So the boss or chalk that you're assessing whether or not it's clean must be clean in the context of, okay, would it make sense to play a 2022 model entering at the FVG, like, and then with the stop loss and that, or would it not be? And if it's not, then you're not entertaining it whatsoever. So anyway, yeah, here it's likely to also retrace relative to 4 hours, so therefore movements relative to the daily 12 and 8 so far are likely to be bearish, basically. You see the 4 hour, I don't even need to look at it much because I can just see it's wick rejecting the lows to some degree, but I'll just zoom in just for sake of it. So push higher, push lower, wick reject, push lower, wick reject, slight reject at highs, then it's wick rejecting lows. So this bar should actually close at 6. I don't know why it's closing then. This is therefore a bit skewed, and it's, well, it's not appropriate to look at for this approach. But anyway, we'll just do it just for this. So yeah, it's wick rejecting the lows here. I don't need to emulate real time. I'm emulating it in my head. I can't be asked to scroll to the left. So you got the 4, 8, and so you got the 8 and 12 and daily quite bearish, and then this. Okay, so it's like a doji. So, well, you kind of need so you can do this. When it loads. Cool.
So far, so good. This is one of my favorite places in the world. You would deny me?
Okay. So the most recent 6 hour bar close, how it formed, the way it did. It opened. It then pushed lower, wicked to the upside, and then so actually, as a matter of fact, here it would make sense to go straight in for sells as a 7, because therefore, how you can read this daily bar close, 1 hour bar close, is that it, well, wick rejected the lows, pushed lower, wick rejected the highs, and closed as a wick rejection at the highs. It's likely to follow through with downside movement. But you then have the 4 hour and stuff kind of wick rejecting to the upside. To the upside, and the 2 hour also was. But then, to be honest, I don't think I'd play longs. Maybe if a really clean one formed, possibly, but but then you've got strong sells again at 10. So, because that's a very nice, wick rejection to the upside of a short-term 1 hour push and play at the upside with that higher time frame narrative comprised of the 8 daily and 12. So I know I kind of said that quite retardedly, to be honest. But yeah, let's just get my chart to load, because so yeah, we're going in at 7 straight for basically an anticipation to plot out 1M non-religious overall structure, highs and lows, and basically look for a clean break to the downside, which is probably going to be a continuation. And then what we'll do is we'll just assess whether the candle that break led to the continuation, see whether that boss would make sense to look for a continuation, 2023 model on basically.
So apparently,
and then I'm going to close my application because this is getting too much. Look how much data I'm using. It's that laggy, it's not even showing. Jotunheimen. Okay, so you've got a trade. I can see it immediately. I'm just waiting for an advert. So. Okay, so if you just emulate real time, just show the same BS. So if you were looking for shorts as a 6, which probably wouldn't have been, I don't really know, we'll just possibly have to say, but like, yeah, keep tracking, so you can see you're non, yeah, so there we go. So there's your break. Now, would it make sense for a thing? Yes, it would. So you'd be in here. So you'd, well, yeah. And then, so this would be a shift, and I'd probably just have the stop somewhere there. Yep, so we're good. And because the stop's absolutely humongous, we'd be looking for just sadly a 1 or 2. Sadly. Anyway, we could keep playing it because it's still there's probably still some momentum left here. Then you see that this is the low. See, I'm not even like plotting it out. I can just do it in my head. Yeah, so that's not clean. And then, is this clean? Yes. Yep, so that's an entry. You might have been stopped out here, who knows, but it depends on you, to be honest, because if the spread's kind of big, you know, do you want to stop there? To be honest, in my head, in my personal opinion, I would probably have went there at the high, and even that, you know, it's, I don't know, it's probably valid, to be honest, that, because it is a clean break. Yeah. But this would need to be here, but your stop again is humongous. Oh well, actually, you possibly would have got a win. Plus, as well, I would be quite quick. And to be honest, I probably would have waited. You probably would have been actually fine on this, to be honest. But like, I would have closed when the market hit 2R. I would have just closed, because this is quite an awful stop loss size, to be honest. But yeah, then anyway, as of 7, like I said, so like, you possibly could have been looking for longs here and scouting them, but like, is this clean? Just no, and then like, this is all not clean, so break. Here, to be honest, this is clean, so obviously I'll just mark it out. So you got this, you got this, you got this, and then you got this, and then you got this. So then you could enter here, and then you would have your stop in my case, probably just about there. And once again, you've got an absolutely huge, disgusting stop loss size, and you would go for 1 or 2, and then as of 10, it would make sense again to look for sells. Here you get a break. Is this clean? No, it's not. This, too big of a stop. Probably plays out though. Yeah, it did. And if you notice too, it also had the USD JPY model thing, and like you enter on the order block basically. Even this wouldn't have been clear, to be honest. So like, it would have made sense, but just not for the stop loss size basically. And as you see, it did also remain aligned, but also you still would have even had a 1 or 2 here because the stop loss would have been too big. So yeah, and then I can also see maybe one more which you would have just been really pushing your model. It doesn't look like it. Oh yeah, no, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, see, so it broke lower. But I was looking at this. This was a clean break to the downside, to be honest. You would have been looking for here, and then I would have just had my stop. Maybe it's just a tiny bit above, and then yeah, push lower. And then here, would this be valid? So you're basically looking for something, the same thing again. So break. It depends on the bias, to be honest, because this looks like it could easily shoot higher, to be honest. So it depends on the bias, but to be honest, I would be done by, I'd look to be done by about 10 anyway. So yeah, but as of 10, you'd still be scouting the market. So Yeah, anyway, there you go. So that's this random day, and then if we fast forward to the next day, this was the trade, which was a non-religious internal overall structure shift. So if you look at the actual like structure shifts, this is it. Not this, and then this, and then this, and this. But this was an internal one, and is it clean enough? There was a strong bias on this day, and yes, it was. And then anyway, I wouldn't have entered there personally, and then I would have entered there on this FEJ from here to here. I may as well just mark it up, whatever. And yeah, enter, and then my stop would have went just about there. And then because the stop again is huge, target 1 or 2. And also the stop is huge in context of like how the candles. Like if this was a daily, you'd be covering a full daily bar if you stop. That's huge. So that puts it into perspective.